Let me get the very latest first from our correspondents. Gaurav Sawant, senior editor who covers defense and strategic affairs for us. Smita Sharma, who covers the External Affairs Ministry, our deputy editor, joining us. First to you, Gaurav, the very latest that you're getting. I am told that this individual is continuously changing his name. He claimed originally he was from Faisalabad. He gave his name as Qasim. Now we are told his name is Navid. What are the security agencies making out of it?
As of now, the security forces are letting him speak. He's being interrogated by the multiple agencies that are engaged in the task of counter-terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. There is the Jammu and Kashmir Police, there is the Intelligence Bureau, there's RAW, there's military intelligence. All of them are letting him speak, and every bit of information is being independently corroborated. For example, he said he'd crossed over from Kupwara. He stayed with 4 local commanders in North Kashmir. There are teams that have fanned out in North Kashmir trying to ascertain if he's speaking the truth. Initially, he also seemed to indicate that he'd come through the Jammu route, taken over a Mahindra Jeep and driven up. Now, that also is being corroborated. So, they are allowing him to speak. He says he's from Faisalabad. There are certain questions he's being asked. All of that. In the next 48 hours, the situation will be extremely clear. What the security agencies are also trying to find out, whether it was a 2-man team or a 4-man team, as was initially suspected, Rajdeep.
Okay, that's interesting information you're giving us. On the other hand, we are told, Smita, that the Ministry of External Affairs is sticking to its schedule that on the 23rd, 24th of this month, the 2 national security advisors, Sartaj Aziz and Mr. Doval, will be meeting. So it appears that despite the terror strikes in Gurdaspur, today Udhampur, the capture of the terrorists, India wants to use diplomacy even while talking tough on terror.
Well, Rajdeep, just a little clarification. Remember, these are the dates that have been proposed by New Delhi, but the confirmation is still awaited from Islamabad if the talks will happen on these dates or maybe a day earlier or, of course, later than that. But we are looking at the talks at the level of the NSA, and the objective of which will be terror, as had been decided in the UFA meeting between Narendra Modi and, of course, Nawaz Sharif. Remember, Sartaj Aziz dons 2 hats, one of the Foreign Affairs Minister as well as of the NSA as well when it comes to Pakistan. Clearly, for India, the foreign policy on Pakistan is being driven by the PMO. Let's have no bones. There is very little South Bloc interference when it comes to Pakistan. It is Ajit Doval, Narendra Modi, the men themselves who are drawing up their plan. But what they think is that if they go ahead, because in the past they have tried taking dialogue off the table, that hasn't worked. If they go ahead, at least the West, especially the US and countries like China, will not be able to pressurize New Delhi to say that you're not engaging with the neighbor. It is important, and also go there with dossiers and clinching evidence and expose Pakistan once again.
That's right. And this latest, of course, capture of Navid alias, Qasim alias Navid, will certainly give us even more ammunition when those talks take place. I'll come back to you, Gaurav, in a little while from now to get more from you. But I want to raise that question at the moment. Can Islamabad now still deny sponsoring terror? It's a question which Islamabad has been running away from. Many believe they live in an Alice in Wonderland world when it comes to this. Joining me now, and I've got all bases covered, Jaidev Ranade, former Additional Secretary RAW, so he'll give us the intelligence perspective. Wajad Khan, senior journalist, is joining me from Pakistan. Lieutenant General retired Shankar Prasad is joining me, and Rajiv Dogra, former diplomat who served as Consul General in Karachi, is joining me. First you, General Prasad, I want to get a military person's perspective to what you've seen happen today. Would you give the credit to the village defense committees who actually showed the guts and the gumption to catch someone? It's almost like Tukaram Ombale, what he did in 2611. He, of course, was facing the guns and died in the process. Here, the village defense committee seem to have been the ones who have captured this man, Navid.
It's a great action by the village people. I think we need to compliment and need to recognize the work they have done. That's one great point. The bigger issue which I want to bring out, Rajdeep, this evening is this, that we are very lucky to have a terrorist who has been captured alive. This time is very critical. The 15th August is round the corner, and this is the time when the militants and ISI in Pakistan want to generate large number of incidents. This is one available resource to us to prevent any of the other bigger incidents they may be planning. We need to go through this man's interrogation to whatever safe houses, logistic bases and supporters that are existing in India as sleeper cells we will never get to know. This is one opportunity we mustn't lose time on in politics and other things. As far as Pakistan is concerned, if the NSA talks go on, I have no problem and no quarrel with it. But when the talks begin, the first item on the agenda should be that this particular man who has been caught today alive should be produced before the Pakistan NSA and shown, here is a man, please ask him where does he come from, what's his name, what's his mission, who's paying him, LET or whoever is behind him, ask him directly and you be satisfied as to who he is. That's one bigger point. As far as responses are concerned, we are tired of listening to responses. We are tired completely. Yesterday was one great response from the NSA. We would like to see that fructify in some form or the other, that we have been punching below our weight.
I'll come to the responses in a moment.
And
I'll come to the responses. I just want to focus
Today we need to nail Pakistan. We need to nail and produce this man before the NSA of Pakistan and bring absolute no doubt in anybody's mind that this is what India has already got, besides many other prisoners that we may be having of Pakistan terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir. But here is this man who should be produced in open public forum to the international media, to the diplomatic community, and particularly to the NSA of Pakistan when he comes there, if he does.
Okay, hold on, General Prasad, you're making an important point, and I want to get our intelligence expert as well as Mr. Dogra to give us a diplomatic perspective of that. Should we be producing this man before the National Security Advisor of Pakistan, Jaidev Ranade? Do you believe that this man is now living proof of Pakistan's links to terror?
This man certainly is living proof of Pakistan's links to terror. But such proof, there is abundant proof of this nature already available, but this is one more, and it's very providential that he is there. I think we are going to, he's a treasure trove of information which will become available soon, and that information dossier must be presented not only to Pakistan but to its supporters and in the international fora.
How do you relate, Mr. Ranade, to the fact that he was smiling all the time? He seemed to be as if he didn't even have a worry in the world. The manner in which the photographs are playing out his interrogation. How do you make that out? What does this tell you about this individual?
He's highly indoctrinated, obviously. He's on a religious high. He's come on what he calls a religious mission to eliminate Indian targets. So he's in a different zone, if I may put it like that. And he comes from an area which is the recruitment base for the LET, for these religious tanzeems and for the Pakistan army, which should be a worrying factor actually, because that is a lot that is going into all these outfits.
Mr. Dogra, the point which is being suggested, let's produce him before the Pakistan National Security Advisor. Let's produce him possibly before the international community. He's already, the interrogation has been live in a way on camera when the Village Defense Committee caught him. Do you believe that's a wise strategy? Should we be now ratcheting up the temperature ahead of the National Security Advisor talks, putting Gurdaspur on the table, putting Udhampur on the table, putting Naved in front of the world?
Well, for one, I think we've got the best proof of a spontaneous confession. What has been produced today on your channel and other channels in terms of villagers capturing the statement of this terrorist, nowhere in the world have we seen anything like this. So, in
that sense, it's different from Ajmal Kasab, who was captured by the police later on. If you see the confession, it's during a narco test which is being undertaken on him. This is now live when he's captured at that very moment.
Absolutely. And before I come to your principal point, let me also say, this also proves that Jammu and Kashmir, people of Jammu and Kashmir have been consistently in the fight against Pakistani infiltrators. 47-48, they fought against them. 65, they fought against them. Kargil, they were the ones who spotted the infiltrators. Today, they have given a tremendous proof, and I hope the government is quick to recognize those who had put their life at risk. He had AK-47. But your principal question was, what about Pakistani NSA? I can give you his response immediately. He will say, a term which the previous government had made famous, he is a non-state actor, he is one of the rare of rare cases. Pakistani government is not involved.
Will they accept that he is a Pakistani citizen? Let's be clear, in Ajmal Kasab's case, they did not accept that he was a Pakistani citizen even after he was exposed by Pakistani television channels itself. Do you believe this is different? Can they avoid that, or are they going to say non-state actor, we have nothing to do with it?
they will say he's a non-state actor wherever he belongs to, whether he belongs to India, Indian Punjab or Pakistani Punjab, we have no knowledge of.
Can I bring you in, Wajad Khan, on that point, without making this a tutu meme, and I am keen to avoid this as an Indo-Pak tutu meme war of words, but would you concede that Pakistan has to give up this fiction of these non-state actors? These are individuals who are coming into the country and spreading terror on Indian soil. How can Pakistan avoid accountability and responsibility for them, Wajad?
Rajdeep, great to be on. It's been a while. No tutu meme, just need some clarity, because from what I'm reading and understanding, I don't know whether this man's name is Qasim Khan or Mohammad Naveed or Osman Khan. I don't know whether there was 4 of them or 2 of them. I'm getting very mixed signals from all across the Indian media. I've got the Hindu telling me that this district hasn't been attacked in 4 years. I've got the Economic Times telling me this district hasn't been attacked in 10. I've got another paper telling me that there was a security and intelligence alert about infiltration in this area 45 days ago. I've got people telling me that these guys were in army fatigues. Listen, it's still brewing. It's still brewing, right? And I don't know whether this is a homegrown crazy, because I've heard reports and seen reports that people are raising flags of not just Pakistan but also the Islamic State.
Wajad, hold on.
In the streets of Srinagar.
Wajad, he's given his specific address. As I said, I don't want to make this a tutu meme. I don't want to put you in a dock as if you are the terrorist here. But I want to understand. He has given his address as Faisalabad. He's given his exact address.
He's also given us 3 names.
Are we going to have a return to Ajmal Kasab, where Pakistan for the longest time denies even his citizenship, and even if it is proven, will say it's a non-state actor?
Rajdeep, all I'm looking for is answers from within Pakistan and from without as well, from India as well. Like I said, is this a homegrown crazy? Is this man on drugs? He's obviously in a zone, as one of your friends just suggested. Who is this man? I don't know. He's got 4 names or 3 names. Just saying he's from Faisalabad doesn't make it so. Non-state actors have messed around between Indo-Pak dynamics in the past. They've, of course, been used as well by state and non-state actors, which are larger than these particular actors. All I'm saying is this is what we know. We know that this man has given us multiple names for starters, and that we know that this is an ongoing investigation. What I also know is that so far the Pakistani Foreign Office is quiet. It wasn't quiet when Gurdaspur was happening, by the way. It's quiet today.
Hold on.
Now, I
want to take your point.
That's a sign in itself. It's also a sign.
Yes.
It's also a sign that there may be some sort of back foot developing here, because last time they came thrashing out around this time when Gurdaspur was happening. I haven't seen the same line of action today. Now, you can cite him in another Kasab. You can go on and revisit the ghosts of Mumbai. But this is what I know. I know that talks are in 2 weeks. I know that the talks are still on. Yes. I know that the Foreign Office is pensive, and I know that Pakistan is on a hyperactive new binge, civil-wise and military-wise, to clean house. They just killed the leader of the Lashkar-e-Jhangvi a couple of days ago in the streets. So, you know, there is a clean house effect going on here, and one would hope that cooler heads prevail, and as soon as we know more, we should speculate more. We should speculate till a certain limit until we know more. That's all I'm saying.
No, we all want to know more, but you wanted to intervene, Mr. Dogra, when you heard Wajad saying he could be a homegrown crazy. I'm not able to understand these terms which are being used. At the end of the day, he's someone with an AK-47 who's been caught in the act of trying to commit a terror act. Now, in that sense, how long can you continue with the fiction of these being non-state actors?
Well, I'm glad at least he's admitted he's homegrown. That is one confession, that he is a Pakistani. As far as crazies are concerned, all crazies are pampered and by ISI, none other, whether it is Lashkar-e-Taiba or anything else. So let's not have that fiction. He couldn't have crossed over from Pakistan twice without active support from Pakistan Army, without their covering fire. So that is one. But I had expected an eminent journalist like your Pakistani guest to be as candid and as frank as Mr. Khosa was a couple of days back when he wrote his article on 26/11.
And it took, let's be clear, 26/11 happened in 2008. Mr. Khosa has written this article in August of 2015, almost 7 years later.
But at least his
on the day itself, do you expect Pakistan to openly admit that Naved alias Qasim is a Pakistani national, or do you believe they will try to ride it out in your experience?
Depends on Pakistanis and Pakistanis. Remember, in 2611, the National Security Advisor of Pakistan, Mr. Durrani, General Durrani,
yes,
he was dismissed because he wanted to speak out in favor of the victims of 2611. So there are Pakistanis who are candid, who are frank, who do not go around defending the indefensible.
I want to, before I return to my discussion, to once again play out the interrogation. What exactly did this man say? It's important to listen exactly to what Naved alias Qasim said. Remember, he was caught by a village defense committee. So this, in a sense, is not a policeman making him say something to camera. This is a village defense committee at the very moment that he was caught making Qasim talk on camera. Once again, I want to play out exactly that interrogation clip, because that is going to become critical. Let's listen in to what Qasim, or Naved alias Qasim, had to say in those critical moments, which will now become major evidence. And I want to understand the nature of this evidence. Let's listen in once again to what he said.
जंगल से आज थोड़ी आया तू पाकिस्तान से, कब का निकला है पाकिस्तान से? कितने दिन हुए? 12 दिन। 12 दिन हुए। कितने बंदे थे? दो ही थे। नहीं, असली बात बताओ कितने थे? नहीं पकड़ना। जो छोटे छोटे बच्चे मारे यार, उनका क्या कसूर था? वो क्या करते हैं आप क्या दुश्मनी है हमारे से, हिंदुस्तान से? आपको क्या दुश्मनी है? पैसे मिलते हैं आपको, पे मिलती है, सैलरी मिलती है, तो क्यों जा रहा है अपनी जिंदगी बर्बाद करते हो आप? हेलो, अच्छा काम करने से मजा है। अच्छा काम करो, दिहाड़ी लगाओ, दिहाड़ी लगाओ। दिहाड़ी क्या लगाए? मानना ही मानना है।
Once again, Jaydev Ranade, how do you see this playing out? The kind of things he is saying on camera. Do you believe that intelligence agencies will see this as a rich source of material? Will they be able to use it in a sense to track down possible other terror attacks that could take place, particularly in the near future? Apparently, one aim was to target the Amarnath Yatra.
Well, firstly, what has come on camera already, it's a video taken by people of the Village Defense Committee, ordinary citizens, and I think it's a first-hand confession which no one can deny. The whole world will be watching it, I'm sure. Secondly, this individual is, as I said earlier, a treasure trove of information. He'll have a lot of data on how these actions are planned, who are the people responsible, what targets are identified and where they are directed, and what targets have been put in front of them. So I think the intelligence agencies will get a lot of information, and they will get a lot more, which is not tactically important, but which helps to build up the picture as far as these terrorists are concerned. But let me mention one more thing, that you were talking about what Pakistan will do. I'm quite sure that the first line which they will adopt is total denial, to be followed by some kind of prevarication, and maybe after a few years, a good many years, they might start conceding that, well, he may have been a terrorist from Pakistan, but then you don't have enough documentary evidence to try him.
You know, before I come back to Wajad, I want to see if Gaurav Sawant is still with us. Gaurav's left us, but Wajad, let me get you on that point. This prevarication, this denial, you know, this constant denial. You know, every time these questions are asked, you say, we are victims of terror, we are fighting terror. You are. But the fact is, terror is also being exported this side of the border. You can't completely, yes, Pakistan could be a victim of particular forms of terror, many of which have been created by Pakistan itself. But the deniability, how long will that continue? How many more terror attacks will it take for Pakistan to recognize that India has been a victim of Pakistan exported terror, with terror camps freely functioning within Pakistan, Wajad?
Again, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, Rajdeep. All I can say is we're on the same page here. And personally, I'll tell you what I think should happen. What I think should happen is that India should put together all the evidence it can from this man and put it in a nice, big, thick dossier and present it to Sartaj Aziz. And I'll tell you why. Because Sartaj Aziz is coming to India to meet Doval with his own big, thick, fat dossier of news which has been going around even as of today. The Home Minister of the Punjab, the largest province here, has said that they've just arrested some chaps involved in a church bombing from earlier this year. And those chaps are saying, just like this man is saying, except they didn't put him on TV, those chaps are saying they work for India. And they have addresses and names and numbers of handlers.
You know,
so
Wajad, we need to go beyond dossiers. People are dying out there. The fact is, in 2611, various dossiers were given. It has taken 7 years for Mr. Khosa to admit what Pakistan should have admitted 7 years ago. Is this all about dossiers? I have this evidence, you have this evidence. This is reality. India has lived with a reality of constant terror attacks emanating from Pakistan. Can you show us where are the terror camps in India? Please show me where are the terror camps in India that are striking at Pakistan. We can show you where the terror camps are in Pakistan striking at India.
I think if the peace process comes back on track, at least at the NSA level and then at the other levels which came out of that document in Russia, in Ufa, I think that once communication streams are strong and developed and there's some sort of confidence which is back in New Delhi for Islamabad and in Islamabad and Rawalpindi for New Delhi, I think we'll know more about both sides and where they lie. However, once again, bottom line, I don't know enough about this man. I don't even know his name. I know 4 names. I don't know how many of them there were. I don't know what's going on. I know you guys do. Again, putting someone on TV saying where you're from, I'm from Islamabad, I'm from Faisalabad, I'm from Sialkot, I'm from Rawalpindi, for me is a little too premature because...
Hold on, Wajad, hold on. You know, Mr. Dokra, you want to make a quick response for that? Pakistan is going to say, and Pakistanis are saying this is now staged. They're going to say this is all staged. This is the fear that one has, that this will be the kind of narrative that will be played out, that we also have dossiers on you. Which means that we are again heading to a zero-sum game at this rate.
That's exactly what I said a few minutes back, that is what Pakistani NSA, if he comes, he is going to say. In fact, they had manufactured another case with regard to MQM and India's so-called support to it. And they had said that London police says so, that MQM is being financed and encouraged for terrorism act by India. London police went out to give out a statement that this is a forged document. So whatever Pakistan is up to and whatever Pakistan brings up is going to be manufactured evidence. So I think in their own interest, it is better that they go beyond forging Indian currency and forging documents of so-called Indian attack and confessing for once that it is mea culpa.
You're calling for a mea culpa. You know, Gaurav Sawant, is there any truth to these reports that he belongs to the Lashkar? You've got Wajad, they're saying we are confused, we don't know what his name is, we don't know which group he belongs to, we need to know much more. Do we know anything more about this man in the last 12 hours since the capture?
Rajdeep, I had covered the 2611 Mumbai terror attacks, and when Ajmal Amir Kasab was captured, this is exactly what Pakistani state had claimed. Multiple names, multiple identities, we know nothing. A country that has lost 150 military children to Pakistan-sponsored terror, to their own terror, and still doesn't wake up to good terror and bad terror. You know, there's nothing that India can expect of Pakistan. That's very clear.
But no, aside from the rhetoric, aside from the rhetoric that will take place on both sides, Gaurav, do we know exactly which group this man belongs to?
Well, he himself said he's from Faisalabad. He himself said he was trained by Lashkar-e-Taiba. But all of that needs to be ascertained because there are multiple things that he's saying simultaneously. There were intelligence inputs about both Lashkar and Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists trying to infiltrate. Both operate around the same area. Now, he speaks in a language which at least our intelligence agencies say sounds like Pakistani Punjabi or a dialect thereof. So all of that will be ascertained, all of that will be known. But Rajdeep, one thing is extremely clear, that even after, Wajahat, my good friend, was talking about going after Lashkar-e-Jhangvi, they're going after their bad Taliban. They're not going after terrorists in Pakistan who are targeting India. And whether it's the Pakistani state or non-state or the civil society, they're completely silent on India-centric terror, and that is why it ends up being a zero-sum game.
That is, Wajahat, really the concern that we have in this country. Sir. That you are having different standards for terrorism which strikes at Pakistanis and terrorism which strikes at Indians. When will that end? How many more Naweds alias Qasims will we have to produce? How many more 26/11s will have to take place? How many more terror strikes in Kashmir before you are convinced that there are different double standards, Wajahat?
What a fabulous question. And I think the only way to answer that is when Pakistan and India are truthful and honest about the larger issues where most of this filth, this terrorist filth stems from, Rajdeep. And that's why we can keep on looking back till this afternoon or till Mumbai or further. But the bottom line is, frankly, again, in a very personal capacity, I'm not representing the state. I never shall as a journalist. One shall try not to, but I think till bigger issues are resolved and till men more powerful and women more powerful than you and me are really serious about moving on, about Kashmir, about Sir Creek, about Siachen, about water.
No, hold on. Are you accepting the double standards? I'm not asking you as a representative of the state. I'm asking you as a journalist, as an objective journalist. Do you accept that there have been double standards, Wajahat?
I'm saying that's a redundant question because if you read a Pakistani paper, the debate is raging in Pakistan as the war on terror escalates. Pakistan's own war on terror against its own terrorists escalates every day about what to do with this good Taliban versus bad Taliban argument. And the purveyors of that argument, which draw that good Taliban, bad Taliban, anti-India, pro-India, whatever divide, right? Yes. Those folks will only be weakened when good, solid statesmen, warriors, leaders sit on a table and talk Turkey. That means Kashmir, that means Siachen, that means Sir Creek, etc. Balochistan, Samjhauta Express, Mumbai, etc.
Okay, I'm just going to give 30 seconds to you, Mr. Dogra, in the end. What should the Indian NSA, Mr. Ajit Doval, tell the Pakistan NSA on the 23rd when they meet, if the meeting goes ahead on the 23rd? What's the simple message in 30 seconds that should be given to the Pakistanis?
I think what he should say, quite frankly, is that we were expecting a very hot summer, but we were not expecting that it will be a summer of terror. He should also say that our patience is not limitless, and as he said yesterday, he should say that now we will begin to punch according to our weight.
We will punch according to our weight, which actually means in real terms what? What does it mean in real terms? Does it mean capturing terrorists alive, which we are told Mr. Doval, one of his aims was when he took over, let's try and capture terrorists alive, because an alive terrorist is real evidence of complicity.
And we should also have a level of deterrence which sort of makes it extremely difficult for terrorists to cross over.
Okay, let's leave it there. Let's leave it there today. We've tried to avoid a tutu meme because we genuinely believe that the time has come to go beyond the tutu meme and just provide hard facts. This is now going to be about hard facts in cases like this. Gaurav Sawant, Rajiv Dogra, Mr. Ranade and Wajahat from Islamabad. Appreciate your joining us. Let's hope that the case of Nawed alias Qasim is used by India now to send out a tough, uncompromising message to Islamabad.